Welcome back to By the Bookshelf. Glad you can join me this evening. Well, today was our last here in this place opportunity for the summer. We've been gathering here on Mondays from 10 to 7 to do some activities, see each other, socially distanced, of course, listen to some music, go on a prayer walk. Today we had some Dairy Brass this morning, and then our new director of music ministries, Grant, played the piano, and then in the evening he also played the piano, and people gathered to listen, go on the prayer walk, and do some other activities. So we're glad you were able to join us for these 3 Mondays, just that opportunity to gather at the church, to listen to music, to pray, to be here in this place. Tomorrow is our first of our 4 outdoor Tuesday evening worship services. There's still plenty of spots available to sign up. So at this point now, anyone can sign up to 80 people, and you can still sign up for one of the other ones as well. We're trying this for 4 weeks. We'll see how it goes. Often our Tuesday evening worship services in the chapel, usually had 30 people. This might be a different situation of people just longing to be able to have a worship service with others. We're going to try it and see what happens after that. Maybe in September we might do 4 Saturday evening services. That's when we typically have our engaged service, Saturday at 5. We've had a good attendance at those in the past. We can try different times because any day works to worship God. There's no set day. This is the only day you can worship. We have a history of Tuesday evening worship services. We have a history of Saturday evening worship services. Lots of churches do Saturday. If you want to get really technical about it, the Sabbath, the day we're commanded to rest and worship, is actually Saturday. Sunday worship didn't start until several years after Jesus' death, when the church kind of called Sunday the Lord's Day, because that's the day of resurrection. So you see a few instances in the New Testament where it says the church gathered on the Lord's Day. But it never says you can only worship on the Lord's Day. It never even says you must worship on the Lord's Day. If there's any actual commandment in the Bible to worship, it'd be worship on Saturday, which is what the Seventh-day Adventists believe. We give a lot more flexibility to it. We worship on Sunday because it's that mini Easter all the time. So we continue to have those Sunday worship services. But you can worship any time. Anytime people gather together where 2 or 3 are gathered. So whether it's Tuesday evening or Saturday, we'll be trying different things. Because we have to try different things at this point, because things are changing all the time. It's been a year of change. Going back to March 8th, where suddenly after that we stopped having in-person worship. And we've been having to think, okay, how do we do things now? It started with just live stream and the basic stuff, and then we've upgraded live stream. We're getting another upgrade in just a couple weeks. The people will be here August 10th to start installing all our new equipment. We started Zoom meetings, Zoom youth groups, and pre-recorded Sunday schools. This summer, Christian Ed and Emmy Stillman have created new ways of doing Sunday school with these bags that are delivered with all these activities and video opportunities. We're being creative to find right answers for the moment. Last week I talked about, when things are uncertain, you don't know what to do the next right thing. And sometimes the reality is you have to be creative to find that next right thing, and there's often more than one right answer. Because the reality is we're living with a whole lot of change right now. How we go to work has changed. How we're going to go to school has changed. How we vacation and spend our summers has changed. How we go out to eat has changed. How we experience church has changed. And change can often be scary. We often see change as this difficult, scary thing. We like our comfort and our routines, but change is possibility. And the times of most change always hold the most potential. So right now we're living in an accelerating possibility curve. There are so many possibilities. We've already been creative on how we can do church, how we can hold meetings, how we can do our live stream. We've found new ways of doing things we may want to continue to do in the future. And just how we're doing things in this moment has changed. Because it's given rise to brand new possibilities maybe we hadn't even considered before. So we're riding this accelerating possibility curve, and perhaps we can't control it, but we can learn to ride it. Like a surfer on a wave, a bird in a thermal. We can use its power to take us where we want to go as a community, as a church, to live in uncertainty, yet act with confidence. That's what we're called to do right now. There's a whole lot of uncertainty. We don't know what the fall is going to hold. All these school districts around the country are making plans, and some have already had to change them, and they may have to change them again. Colleges and schools, churches have said one thing and had to go back. We're living in uncertainty, but we have to act with confidence and creativity to find that next right answer. Because we want to do the next right thing. But there's a truth in that too, that there's often more than one right answer. You don't just want to stop once you found something and say, oh, we're good to go. Early on in the pandemic, we did live stream worship. And we didn't have any lyrics or anything up. We didn't have any pre-recorded videos. We basically ran a very simple, bare-bones service. And that worked. But we didn't stop there. We kept saying, what's the next right answer? What's the next right answer? Maybe there's a better right answer. And we kept experimenting with things. When we get our new equipment in, we're going to do more things. But we had to realize we can do more. There's more potential here. Let's get this equipment so we can do more. Kind of reminds me of cooking. I love watching cooking shows, and I watched Top Chef the other night. I watched Top Chef a lot. And there was this one challenge where everyone was given the exact same 10 ingredients and said, make a dish. It was interesting to see how different chefs could take the exact same 10 ingredients, that's all they could work with, and the different right answers that were found, the different delicious dishes that came from the exact same 10 ingredients. And some were better than others, and some weren't so good. Sometimes there was a problem with their technique. Sometimes just maybe their vision of the right answer didn't really work out, but they had to try. Sometimes in trying, you realize, hey, this didn't work the way we want it to work. That's okay. We learn often more from failures than we do from successes. Fail often, fail forward, fail fast. Keep trying. If you're not trying, you're not doing. You're never going to find a right answer or a better right answer if you settle on one thing and never push the boundaries, never keep trying. Sometimes the best new dishes have been found because people push the boundaries of flavors. Sometimes the best right answers for our lives when we push the boundaries a little bit. And maybe this thing doesn't work, but this thing sure does. You keep trying. There's more than one right answer. It seems so simple, but it is the key to creativity. There are 1,000 ways to come at a problem to find a creative solution. So you look at all these different churches, and so many different churches have found different right answers during this time. Some churches had no live stream at the beginning of this, and they figured out, okay, if we use our cell phones and Facebook Live, if we just pre-record and put it on YouTube or Vimeo, we could have a whole worship service on Zoom and people can respond. All those can be right answers for different churches, depending on their context, what they're doing. And then they didn't stop at the first one. You have to keep going. Just like we kind of said, okay, we can do live stream. We can make it better. Okay, let's offer a Sunday school. Let's offer reading groups. And then we said, hey, maybe we can get people here at the church. We tried here in this place. Now we're trying outdoor worship. We keep trying to figure out how we can best be the church. And we have to think about, what is the point of the church? Is the point to have a big gathering on a Sunday morning in the building? Or is the point to proclaim God's word and share God's love and practice God's justice? Is the point to bring hope to the world? And sometimes you can bring hope in a Sunday worship service. But if that's all you care about, you're not bringing that much hope to that many people. So we're trying to find the different right answers, so we don't stop at the initial right answer. That answer is just doing our job. Oh, we found one. Let's stop and just ride that wave. Anybody ought to be able to come up with one right answer. See, if we believe that we can find additional right answers, we can keep getting better and better. When we work from that perspective, then as we press out looking for the next right answer, we do so not in terror, but comfortably knowing that it's going to be there for you. That answer is going to be there. And you begin to embrace change rather than fear it. We begin to hit the world with a sense of abundance rather than scarcity. And you just get more and more comfortable with reframing a problem into an opportunity. Problem, opportunity, problem, opportunity. We faced problems, but they've been opportunities as well. Reframing a problem into an opportunity, finding another angle and being comfortable and confident that the next right answer is going to be there for us. Now, you can't do that. You won't do that if you're afraid of making mistakes. If we're afraid of making mistakes and trying something and it just fails, we're never going to get further, find that next right answer. But when we're not afraid to make mistakes, and when we really believe that there's more than one right answer, that's when we begin to break the patterns in our lives. Pattern systems, they're incredibly important. We can't function without them. Presbyterians do things decently and in order. We have a pattern. But we all know that if we let our patterns go too long on questions, our rules and our systems, they become our prisons. We get stuck in it. It's like that old story of the family cutting off the ends of the ham for their Easter dinner and putting it in a pan. And finally somebody said, well, why are you cutting off the ends? And the mother says, well, that's just the way my mom always did it. Come to find out, well, her mom always did it because her pan was too small to fit the whole ham, so she cut off the ends. Sometimes we get stuck in patterns. We don't realize they're actually constricting us. Patterns can be good, but they can also be questioned. This time of pandemic, we've had to re-look at some of the patterns. Does everyone have to work in the building? Or can some people work from home? Does every meeting have to be in person, or can we find ways to meet digitally? Does Sunday school, can it only happen effectively if we're all gathered in the building? Can maybe more people participate at home? Does outdoor worship at Dairy work? It used to work historically in the 1930s and 40s. It gathered on the lawn. Should we be bringing that back when the weather's nice in the fall, even when there's not a pandemic? We can question the patterns and move forward. Because when we break the patterns, that everything is always in question, even when it's going well, which is a good thing. You're always saying, well, why do we do it this way? How can we do it better? And if it's that perspective that will really allow us to bring vision into focus. Because whenever we get that critical focus, we always discover that we can do a lot more with a lot less. Even in this time when we cannot worship together in big groups in the sanctuary, we can find ways to greatly impact our lives and our communities. We are living with so much change and so much uncertainty. And that wait and see approach can be hard. It can lead to disappointment, shattered expectations. And so what some churches have done, including ours, is to say, hey, we're not just going to play wait and see. We're going to try to say, give a lot of clarity in the midst of uncertainty. That's why we said, okay, no in-person indoor worship through at least August. And the session will probably make a decision in August to kind of put us out a bit further with some clear answers. It may not be forever, but to give us some clarity and not just say, we're going to go week to week. Because that leads to stress and disappointment. Wait and see puts the organization at the mercy of circumstances. Wait and see is really no way to lead. And our session does a great job of leading. We want to be flexible, but not just say, we'll see what happens. I think people want certainty. And if we cannot provide certainty, which we really can't at this point, clarity is the next best thing. And so we're trying to be clear. Here's what's happening in the moment. Here's what's happening over the next several weeks. Right now, we're going to have live stream worship through the end of August at least, and we're having these 4 in-person outdoor services. In August session we'll meet and we'll probably set up some other clear expectations moving forward. So we talked about there's often more than one right answer. So different churches are doing different things. A lot of churches are still saying, hey, we're not going to meet in the building. We're going to do some outdoor services. And some are doing it on Sunday in place of any live stream. Some are doing 2 services because they have a bunch of music people in different situations. Some have the facilities and grounds where they can easily fit 200 people and everyone can listen and hear and be able to participate. Some have screens in their sanctuary where they can have 50 or 60 in their sanctuary seeing what's on the screen and hearing, and the exact same thing goes out to the live stream where 200 people are watching. Everyone's different. There's more than one right answer depending on circumstances, resources, all of that. So North Point Church in Atlanta, Georgia, it's about, averages 38,000 people on a Sunday over different campuses. And one of their right answers right now is to say we're not going to meet again until 2021. They kind of said, hey, we want to be clear. We want to give our congregation clarity. So here's what's happening. Now, not every church is doing this. They're in Atlanta, Georgia. There's a spike of COVID cases there. And they kind of said, you know what? If we held in-person services, only a small portion of the church could or would attend. And the church could not guarantee safety from the virus. And they also said holding Sunday gatherings would also put leaders in the logistically difficult position of contact tracing should an outbreak occur. So they basically said to their congregation, by suspending Sunday morning in-person gatherings, that we are able to create a strategy that impacts 100% of our attendees and has potential to impact their friends as well. The pastor said, in-person services during COVID is neither missional nor evangelistic, unless, of course, the mission of the church is to gather in a building on a Sunday morning. And he also says, here's the idea. This decision has allowed our pastoral staff to move forward with new plans and ideas instead of getting stuck in, well, how are we going to do this in-person Sunday worship if we do it this week and not the next week and all these things. And he says his congregation knows that and believes that they trust Jesus and that they will continue building the church and that their church, North Point, will be just as strong as it reopens sometime in 2021. Their pastor, Andy Stanley, said, I'm absolutely confident that the church and our local churches will not only survive this, but I think we're going to thrive as a result. And that's one right answer for a large church in Georgia. To say we're going to be clear. We're not going to have in-person gatherings. We're going to focus on other ways of being the church and impacting our community and not put all our energy so we can just gather in a building where some still can't or won't go. And that's maybe one right answer. There are other ones. Other churches are saying we're going to do a hybrid model, kind of like schools, that we can have a few people in the building on Sunday, and we're also going to live stream. Most of those churches, though, have some kind of projector or screen or TV system where they can still do these videos because they can't have choirs right now. They can't have all the kids up front and gathering. So what we're doing with our live stream of pre-recording small groups singing, pre-recording children participating in children's moments, pre-recording people who can't come to the church reading scripture, all of that gets lost if anyone's in the sanctuary because we don't have projectors or TVs or anything that people could sit and watch and kind of experience both in the moment. So that may not be the right answer for us. Others are doing, like I said, they're doing outdoor worship, or they might do outdoor worship on a Saturday and then have their live stream on a Sunday. And we're going to keep pushing to find right answers and not say, well, this is working right now, let's just sit back and stop. No, we're going to keep pushing and figuring out what's best for our congregation. We'll probably have a survey go out pretty soon after these outdoor worship services to figure out, does Tuesday evening work? Would Saturday evening at 5 be better? Would people come to an indoor service on Saturdays if it was deemed safe to do so? I've talked with many of you who said, you know what, we just don't feel comfortable coming to any in-person gatherings right now. And I understand that. That's perfectly fine. That's your right answers. Others have said, we really want to come back, but we might not right now. Others have said, I'd be there right away. We want to figure out, okay, what's the number? If it's only 20 people coming, that may not be the right direction to go, if it's 200 people begging to come, well, maybe we figure out a way to have those in-person indoor gatherings in ways that can be safe. Again, it's going to have to be limited, but do we do it on a Sunday morning and figure out a way to have those projector systems? Do we do it a different day? Do we try to hold 2 Sunday services and split up our leadership team? I don't know. We're going to keep pushing for the right answers. Because to find the next right answer takes vision. It takes focus. It takes creativity. And that's what our session and our task force and our staff are striving to do. There's a line from the Bible on one of these parables that says, "The banquet is laid, though nobody comes." But when we're being creative, we see that life really is that banquet all around us all the time, presenting us with endless possibilities, showing us a world full of light and beauty. And if we let that beauty fill us up, that it will come out in 1,000 ways. In the quality of the way we conduct ourselves, in the caliber of the products we produce, in the depths of service we give to our communities, our church, in the way we treat our families, in the ways we serve one another in hope and love, and the stories we tell our children at bedtime. There's all this possibility. And too often we say we don't want to come. We're comfortable with what we have. The banquet table's laid, but no one's there. The world around us is full of possibilities, and we're often stuck doing one thing all the time. If anything, this pandemic has given us an opportunity to look at this whole world of possibilities when it comes to live stream and how we can have hybrid models of videos in church, how we can do Sunday school and reach more people, how we can continue to do mission even in a pandemic. We actually helped build an entire classroom for the Logos Academy. Marilyn and Charlie Koch did so much drywalling. We had a team going in and painting a room. That we can't do some of our normal stuff, we're going to find something new to do because we're not going to stop impacting our community in positive ways. Mission has not stopped here at Derry. Pastoral care has not stopped here at Derry. Deacons and shepherd group leaders are still reaching out. Music hasn't stopped. Yes, we haven't been able to have that big choir, but many of you have come, sung in small groups. We got our brass playing at outdoor worship services. Peter Gower, Steve Miller, others playing guitar out of here in this place. Music is still happening. Art is still happening. People are creating amazing pieces. Sunday school is still happening with kids. We've had special adult classes. We're working on things for the fall. We're finding ways, okay, if we can't do things like normal, what's a new way we can do Sunday school and youth group and children's fellowship and children's Sunday school and mission and fellowship and worship. There's a banquet of possibilities around us, and we're not just going to sit back and do the same thing we've always done, because there's a world of possibilities and opportunities. Yes, it may look like a problem right now in the world, but it's really an opportunity to find the next right answer. That perspective, that window is always there if we're open enough to see it. And when we see it, the world and the opportunities it presents is truly extraordinary. So look for the next right answer. Don't be satisfied with just finding one. Keep pressing on, as the theme of our Youth Sunday yesterday. Keep pressing on to find that next right answer. And we'll do that as the church. We'll try to provide you clarity while moving forward with that next right answer. How can we do things better as a church, not just now in the pandemic, but how can we do things right now that set us up for a good and powerful future 5 years from now and 10 years from now? We're not just going to be reactive to our situation. We're going to be proactive through it. So we're not just going to invest tons in what's going to help us for the next 3 months, but how can we invest and do things and change things and approach things with that long-term vision ahead of us. So I hope you continue to find your next right answers and help us find ours. Come to these opportunities. Come to Zooms. Come to here in this place, even though it's over now. Come to outdoor worship. Answer surveys. We're going to keep trying to find those next right answers. And I'll be honest, those right answers may not be the perfect one for everybody. That's impossible. Not everyone's going to be 100% happy with any answer the church comes up with. Has that ever been the case? No. It's not going to be the case now either. People are going to say, well, you could have done this. You should have done this. I get it. But we're going to try to find the next right answer for who we are as a church, for the most people, and for our mission, which is always to find ways, creative ways, right ways, to proclaim God's loving word, share God's gracious love, and to practice God's equitable justice in the world, to bring hope into people's lives. Because that's what we do at Dairy. We invest in hope. May God be with you until we meet again.